Have you ever run into a Catholic who seems more like an inspector than a Christian? The one who knows all the rules, who notices who receives communion and who doesn't, how the woman who just came in is dressed, who arrived late, who keeps every rule, yes, but because of whom nobody comes near the church, because he judges the whole world. Well, notice something tremendous that happens in today's gospel. There are men, very religious, very observant, who accuse Jesus' disciples of picking heads of grain to eat because they were hungry. For eating! And Jesus is indignant, but not with those who ate. He's indignant with those who judge. And he delivers a line you should tattoo on your heart. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. That is, my brother, your religion is of no use to God if it doesn't make you more compassionate. Your prayers are useless if you despise the person next to you. He prefers a merciful heart to 1,000 perfect sacrifices. Stay with me, because today we're going to see how to tell the religion that gives life from the one that kills, and why this phrase can change the way you look at others. Listen carefully to this scene. Notice who accuses and whom Jesus defends. At that time, Jesus was going through a field of grain on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick the heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "See, your disciples are doing what is unlawful to do on the Sabbath." He said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry, how he went into the house of God and ate the bread of offering, which neither he nor his companions, but only the priests could lawfully eat? Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests serving in the temple violate the Sabbath and are innocent? I say to you, something greater than the temple is here." If you knew what this meant, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned these innocent men. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Let's understand the scene well because it's tremendously current. The disciples are walking with Jesus through the fields. They're hungry, and they pick some heads of grain to eat something, nothing more. And the Pharisees accuse them because, according to their interpretation, that was working on the Sabbath, the day of rest. Look at what an extreme they had reached, forbidding a hungry man to eat in the name of God. They had turned the law, which was God's gift for man's good, into a prison that crushed man. And here's the great problem, my brother, the one Jesus comes to correct. They had put the rule above the person. They'd forgotten what the rule was for. Because God didn't give the Sabbath to torture us, but to give us rest. He didn't give the law to crush us, but to protect us. When the norm stops serving the person and starts harming them, something has gone wrong. And Jesus says it plainly elsewhere. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And look how cunning the human heart is, because this still happens today. It's much more comfortable to keep rules than to really love. Why? Because rules are measurable. I went to Mass. I didn't eat meat. I said my prayers. I complied. And I already feel at ease, at peace with myself, with a clean conscience. But loving, forgiving, being patient with the person who irritates me, helping the one I don't like, that can't be checked off a list. That truly costs. And that's why many prefer, without realizing it, a religion of compliance over a religion of love, because the first makes me feel good without changing my heart. And God doesn't want that. God wants your heart, not your list of completed tasks. And then he delivers the line I want you to carry away engraved today. A quotation from the prophet Hosea. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. My brother, this is dynamite. God is saying, I prefer a compassionate heart to 1,000 perfect ceremonies. I prefer you forgive your brother than bring me offerings. I prefer you help the one who suffers than pray 100 rosaries and then go out criticizing everyone. And here I want to be very clear because this can be misread. Jesus isn't saying Mass doesn't matter, or that devotions are worthless, or that we should throw the rules out the window. On the contrary, what he's saying is that all of that, if it doesn't transform your heart, is of no use. It becomes theater. Mass, the rosary, fasting, are there to make you more like Christ, that is, more merciful. If you leave Mass just as hard, just as critical, just as unable to forgive, then something isn't working. Your religion stayed on the surface. And this, my brother, has to be said, even if it hurts. There are people who have left the church not because of God, but because of how we, who are inside, treated them. Because of a look of contempt, because of a cruel comment on how they were dressed, because they were made to feel judged when they came looking for consolation. How many Pharisees we've been without realizing it. And that's extremely serious, because Jesus came looking precisely for the ones we so often scare away. Let me give you an example that breaks my heart every time I think of it. Imagine a woman who hasn't set foot in a church for years, carrying enormous guilt, a difficult past. And one Sunday, with a great deal of fear, she dares to walk in. She sits at the back, in the last pew, trembling. And instead of finding a smile, "How good that you came," she looks up and down, whispers some face of reproach. Do you know what happens? That woman never comes back. And maybe God had been working on her heart for years, so she'd take that step. Years! And in a single Sunday, with a look, we tear it down. My brother, that's very grave. Consider that every person who walks into a church may be carrying things you can't even imagine, and that the mere fact of walking in was already an enormous act of courage. Our job isn't to examine them, it's to welcome them. May no one be driven away from God because of us. And notice the most beautiful detail of this passage, because many miss it. Whom does Jesus defend? His own, the hungry, the accused. Jesus takes the side of the weak, not the side of the accuser. Always. When they wanted to stone the adulteress, he took her side. When they criticized the sinful woman who washed his feet, he took her side. When they grumbled because he ate with tax collectors, he took their side. Jesus is always on the side of the accused, never of the accuser. And that, my brother, tells you which side you have to be on. And there's a deep reason for this. It's not just kindness. The one who accuses is putting himself in God's place. When I judge someone, deep down I'm saying, I know what's in his heart. I know his intentions. I can condemn him. And who am I to do that? I don't know what that person has lived through, or the wounds they carry, or the battles they fight in silence. I only see the outside. God sees the heart. I see the surface, and I even see that badly. through my own prejudices. That's why Jesus says, "Do not judge." It's not that judging is merely ugly. It's that we have neither the information nor the authority for it. Only God knows the heart. Only He knows how much that person fought before falling. Only He knows where they came from. And look at the irony. We're usually extremely harsh with other people's sins and extremely understanding with our own. For ourselves, we always find mitigating circumstances. I was tired. He provoked me. It wasn't my fault. Well, apply to others the same mercy you apply to yourself, nothing more. That alone would change the world. So today, ask yourself a brave question. Which side am I usually on? Am I one of those who accuse, or one of those who welcome? When I see someone fallen, is my first impulse to criticize or to lift them up? When someone makes a mistake, do I point at them or do I help? Because be careful, my brother. It's terribly easy to fall into Phariseeism, and almost always without noticing, thinking ourselves very good Catholics. Religious pride is the most dangerous of all, because it disguises itself as virtue. And there's a very simple test to know if your religion is the good kind. Look at how it leaves you. If your faith makes you more understanding, more patient, more able to forgive, closer to the one who suffers, you're on the right track. If your faith makes you harder, more critical, more superior to others, more rigid, something has gone wrong. That's no longer faith, it's pride in religious clothing. True closeness to God always softens the heart, never hardens it. Always. If it's hardening you, it isn't God. And Jesus ends with a tremendous statement. The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. That is, He stands above the law, because He's the one who gave it. There's no rule that can be used against Him or against His mercy. And that means no one can use religion, or rules, or the Bible to harm another. If someone uses God to crush you, they're not speaking in God's name. So, what do we take home today? That God prefers mercy to sacrifice. That the religion that doesn't make you more compassionate stopped halfway. That Jesus always takes the side of the accused, never of the accuser. And that the best proof you're close to God is that your heart is softening. So today, before judging anyone, repeat this phrase to yourself. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Today's task is concrete and brave. Think of that person you tend to judge. You already know who it is. That relative who does everything wrong. That neighbor. That person at the parish you don't like. The one who wronged you and you won't forgive. And today, instead of judging them, do two things. First, pray for them, even if you don't feel like it, even through gritted teeth. And second, look for a good explanation for what they do. Imagine what they may be suffering that you don't know about. Because if you knew that person's whole story, you'd surely judge them a great deal less. And listen, if this message stirred something in you, help me get it to more hearts, especially to someone who may have drifted away from the church because they felt judged. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Give it a like and share this video with that person so they may know that the true God is mercy, not condemnation. And leave me your city and your country in the comments. And if you want, write the name of someone you find hard to forgive so we can pray for them together at Mass. One more thing, important. There are fake pages using my face and my name to ask for money and promise miracles. That is not me. I will never ask you for money for a prayer. The only true channel is Light of Faith with Father David. Please be careful. Stay now for the Holy Mass of this Friday, July 17th. We offer it for you, for your family, and in a special way for all who have drifted away from God because they felt judged or despised within the Church, that they may discover the true face of a God who desires mercy and not sacrifice. May God bless you, and don't forget, if your faith isn't making you more compassionate, take another look at it. May God bless you all, today and always.